Good afternoon and welcome. I'm Betsy Walden, Director of Music Ministries here at Gloria Dei Lutheran Church, and we are so glad to have you here. I can tell you, after listening to parts of this afternoon's rehearsal, you are going to be in for an amazing program. As you may read about in your program, the Agape Ringers are an auditioned handbell ensemble with a collective ringing experience of over 450 years. So they know what they're doing. So much information in your program, but please note we will be receiving a free will offering in the back to help support this wonderful ensemble. Please give generously. And now I invite you to welcome Director Casey Congdon and the Agape Ringers.
Sorry. Am I on? Okay. You are not going to believe my luck, but as I was Googling Clair de Lune by Debussy, a couple things bounced at me off my screen. First, it was to be slated to be part of Fantasia in 1941 as the two egrets seek companionship in the tranquil Everglades. Then it was cut because it was too long. In 1946, Disney did a remake to be included in Make Mine Music as the Blue Bayou segment. In 2015, the new Looney Tunes created a Clair de Lune. Okay, not to be confused with in season 3, episode 12, Phoebe and Justin are forced to go to sleep by their mother, Mrs. Allen. However, their dreams are filled with memories of a playful day spent with Daffy Duck. Now, I know that you all brought your phones with you. As long as the volume is turned off, you may log into YouTube and watch and see if we are timed directly with the cartoons. Google New Looney Tunes or Fantasia Claire de Lune. Slavonic Dance number 8, Opus 46, was written by Dvorak. How many of you know your Dvorak history? How old are you? Are you 5? Okay. You're 8? I got to go to his school. Dvorak was highly interested in Czech folklore, such as the forest women who protect the forest and are kind to those who respect their forests, water sprites that are known for their mischief, Golem of Prague, a clay figure that is said to be brought to life to protect the Jewish community from prosecution. Number 2, composer Johannes Brahms was instrumental in helping Dvorak gain success. Number 3, he was a trained spotter with agoraphobia. Do you know what that is? Agoraphobia is the fear of open spaces, but I'm not quite sure where he thought he was going to find a train. Dance number 8 was first scored for piano duet and later, upon request, scored for an orchestra with piccolo, flute, oboe, clarinet, bassoon, horn, trumpet, trombone, timpani, and I'm not going to name all the strings. Dvorak had 2 opuses, 46 and 72. Opus is Latin for work. This is not to be confused with Opus the penguin in the comic strip Bloom County. Nocturnal Fantasy is an original composition inspired by the Chinese poem Night Thoughts, written by Li Bai of the Tang Dynasty in 701. I wake and moonbeams play around my bed, glittering like hoarfrost to my wondering eyes. Up towards the glorious moon I raise my head, then lay me down, and thoughts of home arise. The 16th note opening figure represents a quiet stream with a reflection of the moon in the water. The quiet, meditative, nocturnal atmosphere gradually transforms into a fantasy with a quick and energetic section. The music recaps majestically with triplets and continues to build to a strong and final statement. This is how Emily Lee musically interpreted the poem. We do like to be talked to after our concerts, so we are asking that you come up and tell us your favorite piece. And in all fairness, the ringers can tell you their least favorite piece that I might have recycled again this year. Picture, if you will, a beautiful June day, and the Ward family is having a reunion at a nice quiet lake off the historic Route 66. 20-year-old Sarah and her sister, 26-year-old Carrie, drove down I-55 so they could beat everyone to Midwine National Tallgrass Prairie Park and snag the best spots in the picnic area. Their parents, Pete and Laura, drove down Route 66 so they could take their time reminiscing and enjoying the scenery. When the parents arrived at the park an hour after the kids, the picnic tables were decorated and the food was all set out. Sarah laughed and asked, "What took you so long, Dad? Did you and Mom get lost?" Laura walks over and grabs Pete's hand and looks up into his eyes and, smiling, answers for him, "Yeah, we got lost in this beautiful place called Memory Lane." Now, Kendall and I drive from Lexington to Wheaton on a weekly basis. We too have to make the decision as to whether to go into overdrive by taking I-55 with our favorite songs blasting on the radio, or to slow down to just a drive by taking Route 66, listening to an audiobook and enjoying the scenery. As you listen to Alex Giebert's original composition called Overdrive, you can definitely hear the changes in traffic from the free and clear sections to the aggravation of traffic jams, the horns blaring, and then finally reaching your destination. First of all, the Bible warns us that when we speak of angels, we need to treat the subject with respect. So I'm respectfully posing a question here. I want you to imagine that, like Gideon in Genesis 9, you meet an angel for lunch. Gideon served the angel bread and soup. At first, Gideon did not realize that he was speaking to a spiritual being. He thought he was just talking to a man. If that was your assumption, you might say to the angel, "So what do you do? What's your job?" How do you think he would have answered? Would he have said, "Well, I'm an angel"? Probably not. Angels, according to the Bible, have all kinds of different jobs. Some are warriors, some are bodyguards. As far as we can tell, the bodyguards sometimes work as teams, like the Secret Service, and sometimes as individuals, like Kevin Costner. Some angels take people from this world to the next. Others are messengers. A lot of angels work exclusively in heaven. They serve on the praise team. Oh, and about the bread, Gideon ate his. The angel's bread was consumed by the fire from heaven. Now, according to my folder, we are taking a intermission. So if you need to stretch your legs, feel free to do so. The offering plate is at the back of the church. Come back in, sit down. We are still going to entertain you. Our surprise for this evening is Dance of the Sumo Fairy. This one had too much sugar at Christmas. The composer of this next piece is Larry Sue and is the founder of Loading Zone. You guys don't get it, do you? Loading Zone, like the back table, the heaviest bells? Okay. But we decided to put the tiniest people up there. A lot of times the front table says, anything you can do. Yep. I think that has been the challenge this year. Now, middle C, what you know on the piano, we call C5 and weighs in about 1 pound. Bass C is C4 and weighs about 3 pounds. Low C, C3, weighs between 7 and 11 pounds, depending on who's lifting it. And the low C, also known as C2, weighs around 15 to 20 pounds. The challenge of bass ringing means that you have to keep up with the ensemble while slinging larger, heavier bells than the front table. That entails more intense lifting and more forceful damping, because those large castings have to be tamed with more power than the little ones. The larger castings also mean that the clapper swing distance is correspondingly larger, so you have to account for that in the timing of your ringing stroke. They also take up a lot more real estate on the table than a treble ringer. With all of this being said, there might have been a challenge thrown between the front table and the back table, a little bit like the Jets and Sharks in West Side Story. So my three daintiest ladies have taken up the challenge. While they are still weightlifting to build shoulder strength, they will be malleting the entire arrangement. I recommend that you return to October's concert so that you can see them actually ring a 20-pound bell. Tico Tico no Fuba. Took a lot of research to figure out what this meant. A tico is known as a rufous-colored sparrow. Rufous means reddish-brown with a nape and breast with a gray bill and head. It looks like our American tree sparrow. They are found in gardens, parks, and agricultural fields. They lay about 2 to 5 eggs, and they are non-migratory. Fuba is a type of maize flower. So together it translates to little bird in my cornmeal. I think that our trio did not put enough bells on the table to prove their point. For Good is a beautiful song sung by two friends. So I decided to do research on friendship. Eleanor Roosevelt said, "Many people will walk in and out of your life, but only true friends will leave footprints on your heart." Laura Oritz said, "I don't have the words to make you feel better, but I do have the arms to give you a hug, ears to listen to whatever you want to talk about, and I have a heart that's aching to see you smile again." A true friend is someone who thinks that you are a good egg, even though he knows that you are slightly green. That would be Dr. Seuss. When we honestly ask ourselves which person in our lives means the most to us, we often find that it is those who, instead of giving advice, solutions, or cures, have chosen rather to share our pain and touch our wounds with a warm and tender hand. The friend who can be silent with us in a moment of despair or confusion, who can stay with us an hour of grief and bereavement, who can tolerate not knowing, not curing, not healing, and face with us the reality of our powerlessness. That is a friend who cares. Just like potato chips, you can't just have one. So we decided to do a wicked two, and we are going to perform Defying Gravity. This is sung by Alphaba and is a powerful and emotionally charged song that explores several key themes, emotions, and symbolic elements. At its core, the song is about self-discovery, empowerment, and the pursuit of individuality. The emotional depth of the song is revealed through the contrasting of hope and despair. Alphaba expresses her hope for happiness, freedom, and self-fulfillment, while also acknowledging the potential consequences and sacrifices involved in pursuing her dreams. The song's climax comes when Alphaba decides to embrace her uniqueness and take a leap of faith, both literally and metaphorically. So if you care to find me, look to the western sky. As someone told me lately, everyone deserves the chance to fly. It's time to try defying gravity. Whether you think of Adina Menzel from the Broadway version or Cynthia in the recent movie, we hope you enjoy this arrangement of Defying Gravity. Precious Lord, Take My Hand is an old gospel song with lyrics by Tommy Dorsey, who tells his story as how he came to write it. Back in 1932, I was 32 years old and a fairly new husband. My wife, Nettie, and I were living in a little apartment on Chicago's South Side. One hot August afternoon, I had to go to St. Louis, where I was to be the featured soloist at a large revival meeting. I didn't want to go. Nettie was in the last month of pregnancy with our first child, but a lot of people were expecting me in St. Louis. In the steaming St. Louis heat, the crowd called on me to sing again and again. When I finally sat down, a messenger boy ran up with a telegram. I ripped open the envelope. Let's rip open an envelope. Wow, that changed the mood. Pasted on the yellow sheet were the words, "Your wife just died." When I got back, I learned that Nettie had given birth to a boy. I swung between grief and joy. Yet, that night, the baby died too. I buried Nettie and our little boy together in the same casket. Precious Lord has been recorded by many famous singers. Martin Luther King. It was sung at the rally in Memphis the night before the civil rights leader's assassination. President Lyndon B. Johnson requested that Precious Lord be sung at his funeral. Hava Nagila was originally a wordless Hebrew chant known as nigun, born out of time of Jewish oppression in Russia during the early 1800s. The nigunim were upbeat songs designed to remind the Jewish community to live lives of joy in the midst of terrible circumstances. 100 years later, ethnomusicologist Abraham Zvi Idelson was studying Jewish folk songs and fell in love with this tune. He wrote lyrics based on Psalm 118, verse 24. "This is the day that the Lord has made. Rejoice and be happy in it." Idelson had a choir sing his new version at a concert in Israel, celebrating the end of World War I, and it became an instant hit in the Jewish community. Would you like one more? I'm sorry, we're too tired. Actually, we would like to perform Blue Rondo a la Turk. Jazz performer and composer Dave Brubeck had the following to say about his composition. I had been asked to appear on a radio show in Istanbul, and while walking through the old city en route to the studio, I heard some street musicians playing a fascinating, complicated rhythm, trying to analyze their intricate patterns. I am too tired. I stood for some time on the street corner watching and listening. Still puzzled over what I had heard, I continued on my walk, keeping the rhythms playing in my head. I went directly to the broadcasting room and was introduced to the Turkish musicians. I started beating out the street rhythms I had just heard. They spontaneously began to improve in 9/8. 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 3, with great grins on their faces. Although we could not speak the same language, I immediately understood that the complicated rhythm was as familiar to them as the blues in 4/4 would be to a group in America. And in fact, the Blue Rondo a la Turk that emerged from that wonderful walk through Istanbul is a mixture of Turkish rhythms and blues. We want to thank Betsy for hosting us today and for all of you for coming, and for our families that let us get out of the house.